Hello everyone, and welcome to my story. This is Colby again, and today I am going to start a series of videos. There's only going to be 3, but I'm going to do a continuation and see if I can carry a running theme very well. So, to do this, I am going to do a tutorial of a skill that I have not mastery in, but a reasonable degree of competence. Enough that I'm pretty sure I can guide someone into learning it themselves, and that is juggling. Now, juggling is one of the skills that I love because they look super complicated, and yet they're actually really easy. It's like riding a bike. People say that about a lot of things, but this is less about the fact that it's easy to pick back up if you leave it for a while, and more about the fact that once you start doing it, your body will learn at the same time as you do. So it can be a learning process that feels very frustrating when you first start doing it, but if you have the willpower to keep doing it even just a little bit very frequently, then you'll pick it up quite quickly, surprisingly quickly, in fact. So for the first video, we're going to start with one ball. And this is to teach, and let's teach actually to get your mind recognizing a very important part of using the balls, which is how to catch it. So, I want everyone to take something that can serve as a juggling ball. I myself have an actual juggling ball that I bought at a circus store, but anything that hopefully is about, let's say, peach-sized and round and won't drastically roll away from you if you drop it. I don't recommend tennis balls for this exact reason. Will serve. It doesn't really matter as long as you can eventually find 3 of them that are all about the same size and weight. You don't want, at this stage, juggling balls that weigh different amounts. So, for the moment, take your one juggling ball, or whatever it is that you have decided to do, and I want you to hold your arms at a 45-degree angle with your elbow touching your side. And hold both of them out like this, with one of them holding the ball. If you want to get some practice with this, start tossing it up into the air and just catching it with the same hand. That's a good way to get your hands used to the movements you're going to be requiring of them very soon. Now, the way I'm going to teach is not the way I've seen everybody teach, but I think it's a very important thing to learn from the very start, from ground zero, which is not to look at the ball while you're juggling this. The reason is because you can absolutely stare at your juggling balls as you're learning to juggle. It's not going to stop you from learning how to juggle, but if you ever want to perform them for people, it will make you look less impressive, and it will make it look far less performative to be staring at the ball the entire time. You want the capability of looking at your audience, just like I'm doing, looking at you, and still catching the ball, right? Now, this is not as hard as it seems, because your brain is actually doing most of the work for you already. The human mind is surprisingly adept at making realistic physics calculations without consciously doing so, and as long as it can see an object traveling, it's pretty good about reading how you can react to them. Now, to take advantage of this fact, here is the most important thing about juggling the one ball. So, like I said before, keep your elbows to your side, keep your arms out. Now, rule number 1, do not move your elbow. I want you to keep your elbow by your side. If you miss the ball, do not lunge after it, because that's a fantastic way to send it flying and increase the time you have to solve things for yourself, which is not good in a performance. But also, if you miss the ball, that's fine. Catching it is not going to teach you how to not miss it the next time. And what you want to do is learn how to not miss it the next time. You want to learn how to adjust the mistake you made instead of clumsily fixing the one you just made. The important thing that I want to instill about this learning process is that we are teaching you physical habits. And the best way to teach physical habits is to accept that you can't do them at the start, accept that a lot of times you're going to mess up. But if you repeat, and stick with it, eventually you'll catch it. Okay, so back to round 0. Keep your elbows to your side, keep your arms out. Toss it straight up into the air and catch it with the same hand just a bit. Now, when you toss it from one hand to the other one, this is the thing that you need to practice with one ball. It's the arc. Did you see how I sent that ball a lot higher than I had before and I missed? This is because, like I said before, your brain is good at making physical calculations for objects if it can see them moving. Now, to take advantage of this, we have to keep our ball in our field of vision at all times. Now, remember what I said about not looking at the ball as you're sending it flying? The reason this is a bad habit is because if you're staring at the ball, yes, it will help you catch the ball. But that's a terrible habit to do because it looks bad to be watching it the whole time. And in fact, the other reason you don't need to do it is because you don't need to do it. Your mind can do the same physical calculations through your peripheral vision at a surprising rate. And you have above peripheral vision just like you do to your sides. So, when you throw the ball, the first few times, try to look straight ahead at anything you want and make sure that the ball does not go higher than your field of vision. If it goes higher than that, if you lose sight of it, you're a lot more likely to miss the ball when it comes back down because your brain doesn't know how to prepare your alternate hand for where it's going to land. So, focus on sending the ball up on an arc. It might take you a little bit of practice getting the correct distance, getting the correct arc. All of this is fine. You have all the time in the world. Nobody is breathing down your neck to learn juggling right now. And you should find that if you get a consistent arc, you'll be able to catch the ball relatively frequently. If you can't, that's also fine. Everybody is different, and everybody will have different levels of dexterity, of mental calculation, of all those things. All of this is okay because none of it is unsolvable. All that requires is more practice. So, I'm going to sign off this video today with this as your homework. Get yourself to the point where you can catch the ball from one hand to the other without messing up once 10 times. And as you have all the time in the world to do this, feel free to take this at your own pace. My juggling teacher, who was an actual professional juggler, told me that 5 minutes a day is a perfectly acceptable way to learn juggling. You can become a fantastic juggler with 5 minutes out of your day.